frozen ocean, many miles from land. A mother polar bear teaches her cubs to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. These extraordinary bears spend every winter on a continent of ice. Now we reveal the secret lives of polar bears and how they rule over their icy kingdom. A polar bear could kill a man with one swipe of his paw. But these hungry teenage males are just killing time, waiting for the big freeze. In Canada's frozen north, hundreds of polar bears are following an age-old migration route. An annual spectacle played out on the shores of Hudson Bay. Over thousands of years, they've been instinctively drawn to the area of the bay where the waters freeze first. Providing the earliest access to the frozen sea and their natural hunting ground. These massive creatures haven't eaten in months.
This is going to build out into the bay, and it'll be just like a big freeway for the bears to go out and hunt seal.
For more than 40 years, legendary polar bear guide Dennis Campare has been tracking the Arctic's polar bear population on land, sea, and ice.
I've seen all the range of emotions these animals go through, and I could connect with every emotion that they showed me.
It's a world few humans ever see. But Dennis has spent a lifetime in the secret world of polar bears.
They're part of my identity. They're part of who I am.
Dennis has followed and friended countless individual bears from the time they were cubs. But years ago, he made a close connection with a bold young male who came looking for him.
I come across him when he was 11 months old. He did something no other bear ever did, is that he broke away from his mother and come over to where I was. So I played a little game with him where I ducked down and he couldn't see me anymore. So what he did is he got on his hind legs and kind of walked backwards to see if he could see me over the top. I said, oh, he looks like a little dancer. So he called him Dancer. 5 or 6 years after that, I had my own little buggy. I woke up in the morning and all of a sudden, the whole buggy went whoop, just shook. And I go, oh my Lord. So I went to the window, and there was a huge polar bear there.
Come here. Come on. Come on. Yeah, it's me.
I looked at him, and he looked at me, and as soon as he seen me, he stood up and started dancing, like it was Dancer. He found me after all those years.
Hi.
Man, so that was kind of give my heart an old tickle there, and so that whole relationship started all over again.
Finn. Hi. Hi, Dancer. Come and see me.
For the next 5 or 6 years after that, he'd come back and find me wherever I was. You know, we visited until the bay froze over and away he went. That's Dancer.
These days, Dancer is like a lot of Hudson Bay polar bears, missing in action. Dennis estimates about a 20% drop in the local bear population. But they come back to the bay every year, waiting for it to freeze. Fresh water in the Churchill River freezes before salt water in the bay. The ice field spreads from here. At the height of winter, reaching 500,000 square miles. An ice continent the size of France. The early hard freeze has always been reliable. Until now.
It took us a long time here on a local level to understand climate change. Up until 5 or 6 years ago, we could just about predict the weather.
The bears could too. That's why they're here. But the planet's throwing them a curveball.
The wind would shift, blow from the north. It would stay in that direction right till March and April. But now that doesn't work anymore. We just can't tell what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know if the ice is going to be thick enough to travel on.
The ice is the bear's safe haven and hunting ground. But the waters are freezing later now and melting sooner, giving them less time each winter to bulk up for the long, lean summer on land.
In the last 6 years, we've noticed an absence of big males. Where the hell are they?
You know, are they still out there? You know, is the population in serious trouble? And, you know, the mom and cubs, what are the mom and cubs doing out there in the dead of winter? How are they surviving?
With winter on its way, Dennis is determined to find out. He's preparing for one last epic expedition to track these bears through an entire year of their lives. To see for himself how a changing world is impacting the polar bears of Hudson Bay.
I doubt if all of them will ever be answered, but I'll get some information out of it. So this is kind of like my final quest before I, you know, give it up.
But winter's still a waiting game for these bears. Apex predators that haven't had a real meal in months. And won't until they get back on the ice to hunt seals. On solid ground, the largest land predators on the planet are reduced to scavengers. Every calorie counts. For now, tiny fish trapped in the early ice are the best this bear can do. An Arctic fox also smells the fish, but doesn't stand a chance. The clock is ticking for all these bears, forcing some to take big risks. A desperate polar mom and her cubs can't wait for a more solid freeze.
The ice is barely holding them up.
Searching for food, they find only danger on the treacherous shoreline. There's also a hungry male lurking in the rolling ice floes. But he isn't looking to mate. He's hunting her cubs.
She's gonna have a hard time keeping her cubs safe from that guy.
On Canada's Arctic coast, a polar mom leads her cubs onto unstable ice in search of food. She hasn't eaten in months.
There's a mother and two cubs walking precariously on that ice.
A huge male is also hungry and stalking her cubs.
They're hungry this time of the year.
Polar bears are known to eat their own.
She's gonna have a hard time keeping her cubs safe from that guy. Plus, not going through the ice.
Protecting her cubs puts them all at risk.
So it's a pretty crazy situation going on out there.
But the unstable ice is even too much for the male. The mom and cubs escape. Finally, frigid winds sweep out of the north. Temperatures plummet. Almost overnight, solid ice starts spreading out into Hudson Bay. This is the moment the bears have been waiting for since last spring. But just as the ice beckons, and hundreds of bears march onto the frozen bay, a pregnant female heads off in the opposite direction, on an even more urgent mission. And another age-old migration. She'll trek 50 miles inland, but our mom knows exactly where she's going. Back to her ancestral birthing dens. She'll endure one of the longest fasts in the animal kingdom. 8 months without a real meal. But her keen sense of smell detects a chance at a few last critical calories before entering the den. Arctic foxes can kill enough lemmings hiding in the snow to stockpile leftovers for later. The foxes make a futile attempt to protect their stash. But they're fighting way above their weight class. 10-pound canines are no match for a 600-pound bear. This is a mysterious, magical time for polar bears, often finding dens that go back generations. Dug into the permafrost, they're custom fit to her dimensions. 8 feet long and only 3 feet high, carved to wrap around her, with no room to move around. Once she enters the den, she won't reappear for more than 3 months. As winter descends, Dennis Campare launches his own search for a polar bear birthing den. His goal? To witness the miracle of a polar mom emerging after months of isolation, followed by her newborn cubs. Then track their epic journey back to the ice in Hudson Bay.
My quest now is to observe these animals during the whole 12 months of the year, the whole year cycle for them. And that would make my journey with these animals complete.
Dennis is completely exposed in one of the most inhospitable climates on Earth, at a bone-chilling 40 below. A breakdown on the tundra could be catastrophic. Along the way, the veteran polar bear guide spies another age-old migration.
Oh, my Lord.
One of the most massive in the natural world.
1,000 caribou crossing the ice. Well, they're tough. They're tough this time of the year. What a sight.
With just a few hours of daylight remaining, Dennis has to keep moving. His destination? An old trapper shack. Base camp for his search for a polar bear birthing den. Polar bear guide Dennis Campare is riding into a frozen wilderness on a journey to determine how the bears of Hudson Bay are coping in a changing world. But now, he needs to find shelter before nightfall. An old trapper shack will be his base of operations in his search for a polar bear birthing den. somewhere in the vast Arctic expanse.
Oh yeah, there's one.
Dennis now has to explore this featureless world to find signs that an isolated snowdrift conceals a birthing den. The temporary home for a mom with cubs just a few months old that still haven't seen the sun. It's a seemingly impossible task.
If you're looking for a den that's never been opened up, been broached for the first time, it's difficult as hell. You can look and look and look, and it can take you days and days and days. It really is like finding a needle in a haystack out there, such a huge area.
It takes a lifetime of experience to even suspect he's found the birthing den.
Better not get too close.
A heat-sensitive camera will detect anything alive under all that snow.
Ah,
Modern technology confirms the old tracker's gut instincts.
look at that. I got a heat trace coming out of that hole. There's got to be a den. It's a perfect place for a den. This is the spot. This is where the new polar bear lives start, right here.
For the bears inside, the snow provides both camouflage and insulation.
It's quite comfy and it's well insulated. You know, the newborns they're not that big, you know, I mean, 12, 16 ounces. Could be 40, 50 below outside, and they're pretty snug within this nice thick covering of snow.
For Dennis, it's a different story. He settles in, exposed to some of the harshest weather on the planet.
No, it's just a waiting game. See how long it's going to take for them to pop out.
The wind chill drops to 40 below. Without proper winter gear, a human would die out here in minutes. But it's a vigil Dennis is determined to maintain. A mom won't leave the den until her newborn is strong enough to face nature's most brutal conditions. Far from Dennis on the tundra, another mom leads her one-year-old cub onto the pack ice in Hudson Bay. For the most critical lesson any polar bear can learn: hunting ringed seals. Even an expert hunter has to play the percentages. Ringed seals, a polar bear's primary prey, don't make it easy. They can stay submerged in icy water for 45 minutes. But like any mammal, eventually they have to come up for air. That's a bear's window of opportunity. So seals create a network of breathing holes spread out across the ice. To keep the bears guessing where they may surface. It's day 10 of Dennis's vigil. But from deep inside, there are indications life is beginning to stir.
If you look between the trees over there, you'll see how the snow is disturbed and it's kind of roughed up a bit. You know, if you look closer, you can see the start of a hole. And if you look into that hole, you see a polar bear, a mother polar bear, hopefully with cubs.
Settled into a snowbank nearby, all Dennis can do is continue to watch and wait.
Oh, man.
Amazing.
This might be it. There's something in there, so it's gotta be the mum.
After 10 long days camped outside a polar bear birthing den, Dennis Campare is beginning to see signs of life buried in the snow.
I'm sure she's anxious to get out. You know, her cubs are growing and growing every day, so that little space she occupies is getting smaller and smaller.
Creatures that will grow to be 8 feet tall and weigh more than 1,000 pounds. Begin life no more than a foot long, their weight measured in ounces.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Amazing.
The cubs grow to about 25 pounds before Mom decides they're ready to venture out into the world for the first time.
Oh my, look at that. That's amazing.
After 3 months trapped in that ice cave, she emerges first to see if the coast is clear and take a long-awaited snow bath.
Probably hasn't eaten since July, so she's pretty hungry at this point, living off her fat reserves.
Despite a 30% drop in body fat, she's comfortable at 40 below. But it's still too cold for newborns.
She won't allow the cubs out right away. It'll be a day or two before the cubs will come out. We still don't know how many cubs she has. We know she has cubs, obviously, but we don't know how many. 1 would be nice, 2 would be great, 3 would be amazing.
As the sun sets, Dennis knows no mom would bring her cubs out into an Arctic night. Darkness descends. Temperatures plummet. As the cold produces the Arctic's signature night spectacle. nature's psychedelic light show, blazing across the northern sky.
An elder told me, if you watch the northern lights for more than 10 seconds, they're going to come down and grab you, take you up in the sky, and nobody will ever see you again. I still find myself counting when I look up at the northern lights. Only minus 22 today. The sun is out and the wind has dropped. That's a good indication that Mom's going to poke her head out of the den and have a look around and see what's going on.
More sun and less wind could be just what the mom's been waiting for. Dennis has a hunch this could be the day he's traveled so far and waited so long to see. Dennis Campare has been waiting in wind chill dropping to 40 below. For the moment, new polar bear cubs emerge into one of the harshest environments on Earth. The new mom's been checking conditions every day to make sure they're safe for her cubs to greet the world for the first time.
She never brings the cubs out on their first 2 or 3 days. They don't show up, until a few days later.
Today could be the day Dennis and Mom have been waiting for.
Man, amazing. It's a new life. And 2 beautiful young cubs. There's hope when you see animals like this. Nothing much in the animal world that, makes your heart beat a bit more than what I'm looking at now. It's pretty incredible stuff.
Over the next few weeks, the family will stay close to the den. Mom keeps them safe and well fed. She'll be their sole source of nourishment for the first 4 months of their lives.
The fat content in the milk, I said like over 30%. So it's rich as hell. And the cubs just gobble it up and just grow and grow and grow. A mother polar bear is probably one of the strongest mothers going. Everything she has is invested in these newborns, so she's an incredible mother for sure.
Desperately hungry after months without food, she's carefully monitoring her cubs to determine when they'll be ready for a marathon 50-mile trek to the bay, where she can finally hunt for food again. Days pass. The cubs have a lot of growing and learning to do to survive in the Arctic. Their antics serve as a workout, building muscle for the long walk to Hudson Bay.
It's nothing but play to them, but of course to Mom, what's happening is they're building up their stamina and their strengths for this crazy trek they have to take to get out to the Hudson Bay to hunt seal.
The cubs have no experience of the dangers all around them.
Unfortunately, 50% of cubs of the year don't make it.
Mom is always standing guard.
We can't see what she does. It's very subtle. You know, they could play and be rambunctious and this and that, and whatever signal the mother gives, they just snap back right in line and listen to every command. They have to pay close attention to the mom because she's the one that's going to keep them alive.
Today, Polar Mom smells trouble. She's not the only predator around.
So we've seen a wolverine trundling across her horizon there. The wolverine were known to take down polar bear cubs, so it's a bit troublesome.
She raises the alert level. Her cubs could be in serious danger. Like the new mom, veteran polar bear tracker Dennis Campare is also on guard duty when the cubs are outside, at play in the snow.
You know, they're just exploring their new world, and the idea for now is just let them run around and get some stamina.
But Mom smells danger. A wolverine. They're fierce, ruthless predators. This is a flanking maneuver, designed to disguise plans for a sneak attack. Wolverines are capable of taking down much larger prey, including caribou, even moose. The cubs are in danger.
takes 2.5 years to teach these cubs everything they need to know to survive on their own, and you know, that's been Mom's goal since day one.
They make it back to the safety of the den. The area around the den is a playground. The polar mom is eager for them to put on weight and add muscle. But with the cubs constantly feeding, she's at a tipping point.
Their mother has not had anything significantly to eat in the last 8 months.
So she's pretty hungry at this point, living off her fat reserves.
If she waits much longer to leave the den, she won't be able to feed them.
The biggest thing these young cubs have to overcome is starvation. Her resources are being dwindled, and if she doesn't have any milk to feed these youngins before they have a feast of seal, they can starve.
Mom needs to get moving. The nearest seal kill is more than 50 miles away. On her own, she could reach the bay in a few days. With her cubs in tow, it will take weeks.
Once Mom figures that her young ones are ready to go on this long trek, she gives them some kind of signal.
Finally, she makes the call.
Then the horseplay stops. It's time to get serious now, and the little cubs, they just snap right in line.
It's time to go. The challenges ahead are formidable. After the long march to the pack ice, they'll have only a few short months for Mom to replenish 30% of her body weight, and for the cubs to grow strong enough for the marathon swim back to land in the spring. In the kingdom of the polar bears, life's about to get very real very quickly as they take their first steps on an epic journey.